Welcome to today's session of India Data Portal. My name is Deepti Soni and I'm the Senior Consultant Communications and Outreach at India Data Portal at Bharatiya Institute of Public Policy at Indian School of Business. And I wanted to tell you how to just create a login ID. It's very, very simple. It's sign up for free. So you can put your email ID or set password here, put your profession right now, your students, some of them of your faculty members, so you can put it here. Or you can create a login ID using your Facebook or a Google account. I have an account, so I'll say login now and I will log in here. And here you see my name appears. My name is Deepti. So this is my profile. You can check it out. And then if you see here from the drop down, you can see it's my details, my login details, my graphics. Then the data sets which you are most likely to use. This is the visualization history and everything. And then you have a drop down for language. This is the homepage of the portal. So the first tab here is about us. Of course, it's about the IDP, meet the team, media mentions, which we have got. Then we have data sets on which the entire portal is based. Then the next segment is visualize. If you don't want to go to data set, you can directly come here and you can visualize a data set. You can compare data sets. Under news and graphics, you will see there is something called news using IDP graphics gallery. You can just come to news using IDP. And let me show you how you can add it. You can just say add news and put the name of the news link. If it doesn't have a link, you can scan a picture or click a picture and do upload file. You can add the name of the news outlet, when was it published and telecast. So you can click here. And what kind. So blog, newspaper article, other digital news platforms, you can pick from here. And then you do add. The moment you do add, your article or your clipping will appear. And then the last section here is about training. And then here you see there is a tab called IndiaPulse at ISB as well. So let me go to the home page again. And here now you see that we have search and visualize data bar. Now India Data Portal, one of the things it does is it's a very, very intuitive search bar. Let's say you would like to do a series of stories on women, for example. So you can see female. And the moment you type female, you'll see that there's lots of options which appear under female. So moving on, here, these are most viewed data sets, like the data sets which people mostly use. Then here, most viewed graphics. And then here you have like social media feed. The host institution is Indian School of Business, Bharatiya Institute of Public Policy. The technical partner is Gramener. It's funded by Gates Foundation. And you can see all our social media links, the email ID, WhatsApp number here. So this is essentially a brief about India Data Portal homepage, different sections, different segments. And here, let's go to data sets, which is what this portal is based on. So let's say if you go to any data set on India Data Portal, what you will get is you'll get a lot of information about the data set itself. So for example, if I went to, let's say deposits with bank, for example. Here you will find that the name of the data set is deposits with bank, about data set. And what is the domain or what is the sector? It is both in economy, under the economy subhead, as well as the financial inclusion subhead. So it is same data set, but available under two subheads. What is the granularity level? It is at district level. So different data sets are available at different levels on India Data Portal. So you would find some data sets which are available at the state level, some data sets available at country level, some data sets available at the village level, tehsil level, block level also. And what is the frequency of each data set? So all different data sets have different frequencies. Then you can see that the source, then when was the data retrieved and when was the data last updated? So at source on the government website, the data was last updated in 2017-18, and we have also data from 2017-18. The source name is Reserve Bank of India, and the database that this data set is about Indian economy database, and it is from Reserve Bank of India. And then you can see here the years covered is 2017-18. Number of states and union territories is 36. Number of districts is 698, and population group and bank groups are 7. And then you can see data variables here. It will give you these regions details. And then if you look at data summary, and then if you can do view data. So let me give you one example. What has been the sale of fertilizers in different districts of Maharashtra in a particular year? Let me go to food and agriculture, and from here. Okay. So if I do search this, you can see I get fertilizer sales and food and fertilizer subsidy. and I want to check fertilizer sales. So I can either do visualize directly, view details, or I can also view source. I will do visualize. And here you say it fertilizer sales appear here. On indicators, I will choose sale of fertilizers and I will do apply. On dimensions, I select all kinds of fertilizers irrespective. So urea, SSP, DAP, everything. I'm not dividing it by season, although I can, but I want to keep my graph a little simple right away. So I've chosen all and I do apply. In time period, this data is available up to 2022. So let me check, select the latest one and apply. In add location, I can either scroll and get Maharashtra or I can type Maharashtra. So I will scroll and get Maharashtra and I select all the districts of Maharashtra and I do apply. And then build your chart, because I want the, whatever visualization which comes, I want it to be detailed at district level. I choose district and I visualize. See, a map of India appeared, which has zoomed in on Maharashtra and different states of Maharashtra. If before I say what's going on the map, let's talk about what's on the page. So it's a map sales of fertilizers. I use the pen here and I can change the name. So I can delete it completely and put something new altogether, like Maharashtra. I can do plus minus zoom in, zoom out. And you can see the map. When I hover my mouse here, it gives me the values across different districts. So highest looks to be Jalgaon because it's the greenest. If you look at the scale, red to green, the redder it is, the lowest it is, the greener it is, the highest it is in metric tons. And then you can see at the bottom, there's source. You can see the source here, fertilizer sales, Directorate of Economics and Statistics, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Year is 2021-2022. It's an annual data set created from India Data Portal. Then here is an eye icon. The eye icon will always tell you what is the visualization trying to portray. So that this visualization represents sale of fertilizers across geographies. The color represents highest to lowest. Sales of fertilizers are shown on the legend, like at the bottom. If you hover your mouse on the geography, you will see the exact numbers. You can zoom in, zoom out. So I can zoom in and zoom out on particular districts. I can change the color. I can download the visual in high resolution, and I can always also share it directly on social media channels. Then here is the settings button. If I click on it, you'll see it gives me a range, or I can change the color. I can save it, download in high resolution format, download data. I can save it to my graphics, which will be personal to me, or graphic gallery, which will be public. And then we can also share directly on social media. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp as well, and do copy shareable link. On bar plot, the moment a bar plot appears, you will see that there is another option which I get, which is called the sort button. So right now it is highest to lowest on indicator value. I can change it to lower to highest or alphabetical. Then if I go to the star button, here you will see something called values, show values. So I click on show values and I apply. See, all the values now appear here directly. And then the next option, you have like a donut chart, you have a lollipop, you get a radial bar plot, you get a radial plot, you get a pictograph, and you get a circular bar chart. Let me show you another example. There is one unique feature of India Data Portal, which is about that you can create your own indicator on the portal. So here, when I chose the indicator, these were already pre-fed. So you see preset indicators. Here it's the word preset. So these are already pre-fed indicators based on the original source and based on what is the kind of information which is available on a different date, on a particular data set. What you can do on India Data Portal is, depending on the kind of story idea or the kind of story line you have, you can also create your own indicator. So let's say if I pick the data set called Mission Antodaya, I want to talk about the health and safety infrastructure of India. Let me go to health and sanitation, and I pick PHC availability. That means primary healthcare center availability, and I do apply. And in time period, this is available for 2019. I pick 2019 and I do apply. And in add location, I pick all the states and union territories of India, and I do build a chart, and I want it at state level. I check state and I do visualize. You see, again, a map of India has appeared. And here the scale is red to green, red meaning only 6 villages. The lowest figure is 6 villages availability of a primary healthcare center. The highest is 4,727 villages with availability of a primary healthcare center. So here the larger you see Maharashtra or Rajasthan or Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, all of these are kind of the darker side of green. And the lower sides are all like Ladakh, for example, then here Sikkim, then you have Arunachal Pradesh, then you have here Jharkhand, you have here Goa, which is all sort of on the lower side. And somewhere on the lower side of the scale is also, let's say, Kerala with 772 number of villages which have primary healthcare center. And then you have Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, all of these on in the middle of the scale. And let me show you by a bar plot. And if you see a bar plot and you can show values here by here and you apply, then you see Maharashtra has the highest with 4,787. Let me get back to the map again. And here, one of the striking features is that all of these are larger states, which have the figures in thousands. You see that these are the larger states. So what I do is I go to PHC availability here, and I do a create indicator here. So instead of preset indicators from here, I do a create indicator. And what I do is a very, very simple maths thing where I want to draw a ratio or a proportion of number of villages and availability of primary healthcare centers. So let's say I give it a name. So let's say Maharashtra. And here I do PHC availability and I click here. So the moment I make my selection here, you see it comes here. And I do divide it by, you see division sign has appeared. I do it by number of villages. And I multiply it by 100 to get percentage. And I do create indicator. So see, it says indicators created successfully, and I do OK. And here where I had chosen PHC availability, I go here. I deselect from health and sanitation the PHC availability. I select the one which I've created, Maharashtra PHC versus India, and I do apply. And in build your chart, because all the states and union territories are already chosen, I don't choose anything else. I go here and the state is also selected. I do visualize. You see the map of India has completely changed. Let me show you this with let's say a lollipop chart. And I do show values here. And let me maybe change the color also, just for fun. So you see Kerala is at 48.4%, Puducherry is 29.5%, Dadar Nagar Haveli, which was on the lower side of this, 22.9%. Maharashtra starts with a 10.8%. Here on, I think on, if you look at the scale, it will be like 17th or 18th number. So this is a very, very important way if you want to draw the right conclusions in terms of how different states and union territories are faring when it comes to providing healthcare services. Let's say I want to look at the budget data and I pick outlay on major streams. Manrega is one of the major schemes of the government. And on indicator, I select expenditure and I do apply. On dimensions, it is 4 of the core schemes. I pick 4 of the core schemes and I pick Manrega here and I do apply. And let me select all the years. I do apply. I don't select anything else. And on build your chart, I select the name of the scheme name here, and I do visualize. And the options I get is a multi-line chart, and I get a stacked bar plot. Then I get a grouped bar plot, and I get a box plot. Let me show you the grouped bar plot, where you see in 2015-16, the expense was about 37,000 crore rupees on Manrega, the expenditure. And in 2021, you see when there was COVID, peak of COVID, the government spent more than 1 lakh crore rupees. And then after last year, in last year's budget, it decreased it to 98,000 crore rupees. And this year, the allocation has been only 73,000 crore rupees. So let me open a new window here and take you to something called IndiaPulse at ISB. So let me click on IndiaPulse at ISB. I want to take you to employment and on Manrega. And here, demand persons. And what I want to do is, you will see a map has appeared as well as a line frequency chart has appeared. And in the frequency chart, you see two lines, the dotted line, which is last year, and the bold line, which is for this year. So I can remove last year by unchecking this. And here you can see here it gives the range in months 369, and here you can see the tab. What I want to do is I can increase the range here and increase the range this side also. And here you see it's January 2020 and January 2022. And here you will see that again, if I hover my mouse, it will give me the numbers for different states. So I can select states as well. And you see from January 2020, the figure here is about 25 million. And then it went slowly up in Feb, and it kind of went down here when the lockdown happened. And here you see when the strict lockdown happened in April, May, it started to go up. It's still going up, and it went to almost 63.5 million. That is the peak. And it started to go slightly down when restrictions started to ease. It slightly started to go down. It went down a little, dipped here in 31 million in October 2020, because things had mostly opened up by October. And then again, as the number of cases started to rise, then it started to go up. And this is the time of the second peak, 2021, when you see the demand has risen again. And now if you see here now, this year, it kind of has dropped to 27.6 million. So almost kind of pre-COVID area. And if you look at here, the maximum expenditure by the government was here in peak COVID. And now, depending on the demand by persons of Manrega employment, it has sort of gone down. So this is the kind of, again, if you stay in this graph, you can view data, you can download the data, you can download the image, or you can share it here on different social media platforms. This was a quick example in terms of high frequency indicators, in terms of traditional data sets, the big data sets, which you can look at on India Data Portal, and again, save them, download them, share them in a language of your choice in terms of out of these 6 languages. So I will stop here.
Thanks, Deepti. आपण आता बघितलं की या इंडिया डेटा पोर्टलवरनं आपल्याला किती विविध प्रकारचे डेटा सेट्स उपलब्ध आहेत, ते कोणत्या काळातले उपलब्ध आहेत, ते कोणत्या गव्हर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंटचे डेटा आहेत, आणि ते वापरताना आपल्याला किती विविध पद्धतीने वापरता येऊ शकतात. हे खूप इंट्रोडक्टरी होतं असं समजू आपल्या अण्णाला, आणि तुम्ही वापरायला सुरुवात केलीत आणि नक्की अडचणी येतीलच. तर अडचणी येतील तेव्हा तुम्ही इंडिया डेटा पोर्टलला ईमेल करू शकता, त्यांच्या व्हॉट्सअपवर मेसेज पाठवू शकता, किंवा अन्य पद्धतीने त्यांच्यापर्यंत ते सर्व प्रकारचे सोशल मीडियावर उपलब्ध आहेत, त्यांना तुम्ही लिहू शकता, आणि तुम्हाला काही अडचणी आल्या तर ते सोडवायला नक्कीच भरपूर मदत करतील. वेबसाईट बंगाली भाषेत ओपन होतीये, ती मराठीतही ओपन होईल, इंग्लिशमध्येही ओपन होईल. तुम्ही जाऊन फक्त तिथे लँग्वेज बदलायची आहे. तिथे उजव्या बाजूला तुम्हाला दिसेल लँग्वेजचा मार्क आहे, तिकडे तुम्हाला लँग्वेज बदलता येईल. 5-6 भाषांमध्ये आता ती उपलब्ध आहे. इंग्लिश, हिंदी तर आहेत, पण मराठीतही काही प्रमाणात उपलब्ध आहे. आपण दोन्ही पद्धतीने तो डेटा वापरू शकतो. आणि त्यांनी सांगितलं त्याप्रमाणे तुम्ही समजा आज काहीतरी तयारी केली, बघितलं, तर तो सेव्ह करून ठेवू शकता. परत त्याच्याकडे जाऊन परत वेगळ्या पद्धतीने बघू शकता. त्यामुळे तुमचं म्हणून तिथे एक कॉर्नर तयार होईल, आणि तिथे तुम्ही तो डेटाचा अभ्यास करून तुम्ही तुमची स्टोरी पूर्ण करू शकता. आणि तुम्ही जर IDPचा डेटा वापरला आणि एखादा लेख, एखादी बातमी केली, तर तुम्ही अवश्य ती इंडिया डेटा पोर्टल बरोबरही शेअर करा, म्हणजे इतरांनाही लक्षात येईल की किती विविध पद्धतीने आपल्याला इंडिया डेटा पोर्टलचा वापर करता येऊ शकतो. मी परत जाता जाता एवढंच सांगेन की इंडिया डेटा पोर्टल पूर्णपणे मोफत आहे. आपण हा डेटा पूर्ण वापरू शकतो. हा सरकारी डेटा आहे, त्यामुळे तो रिलायबल आहे, खात्रीशीर आहे, आणि हा वापरण्याचा तुम्ही नक्कीच प्रयत्न करावा, आणि अडचणी आल्या तर नक्कीच तुम्ही IDPला लिहावं.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. Thank you so much, Marmik, for helping us arrange today's session.